Hello and welcome to Dad and Sons, a podcast about talking about video games and movies and animus, because that's what passes for entertainment these days. I'm George Weidman.
I'm Liam.
I'm Matt. Hello. Can you hear that echo?
The couches come soon.
We can?
The couches come soon.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound bad. It sounds like one of those kind of soothing, calming echoes, like when you're kind of in your head imagining a little garden when things are just like being real stressful, when you're reading the comments on your YouTube poop, and then you just need a beautiful echoey voice to tell you things are going to be okay.
Yes.
Did you guys watch it by chance?
I started watching it, but I didn't get a chance to finish it.
I started watching it too.
Very divisive reception with this one.
I will admit, I spent more time reading the comments than watching the video.
Okay, so I mean, are you guys familiar with YouTube poop, with the concept of it?
I will admit,
Sort of.
I had to Google what it actually meant. Like, I know it was
God,
like
I
some
can't believe you
form
guys.
of mashup. No, I knew it was like some form of mashup, but I wanted to see how nail hit on head you had gotten with it. So I Googled the definition, and it didn't really clear up any questions I had. So.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the poops. When I was all through college, I'd watch like hours of people like editing King of the Hill and SpongeBob to be these disgusting alternate world like amalgamation versions of themselves, and I really appreciate that kind of sense of humor, like editing a video to say something that it never in any instance whatsoever would have ever said in the first place is something that I find inherently funny. It's like comedy is supposed to be the juxtaposition of people breaking rules of society that are arbitrary and contradictory in the retrospect as seen throughout the comedy routine. And YouTube poops, they like transform the sacred narrative linearity of videos into a malleable joke form, which is something that's been kind of locked out of technology for the past 100 years of video, up until the internet made pirated copies of Vegas show up on the Pirate Bay for free, and people just started making this crap. I don't know, it strikes me as like a cyberpunk version of folk art in a weird way. Or is that me trying to grasp too hard, trying to defend my my video that's literally called YouTube poop?
I mean, you do like garbage.
I do.
Does that equate to him making garbage, Matt?
Well,
not necessarily, but maybe
does George consider it a success if, because he likes quote garbage, if he makes quote garbage, is that a successful video?
oh my god.
I think in his eyes it might.
All right, I'm gonna have to come up with a scheme to explain this video in the future.
The thing is, I started watching it and I was intrigued by the prospect because I'd never really watched this sort of genre, let's call it, let's be kind, a genre of YouTube videos. But then I noticed it was 17 minutes long. And I will admit, 3 times during the start of the video, I thought my internet was stuttering.
Oh my god,
And
yeah, you
fooled me 3 times.
didn't know then, like the style. It's kind of like, it's the freeform jazz of video editing.
The interpretive dance of YouTube editing.
You stretch that footage any which way you want and try to make a dance come out on the other end that is somehow
I
like...
feel like, because I'm not really an editor per se, and I don't particularly make videos anymore, I feel like it's the complete antithesis to what Matt would make. Like, it's the absolute polar opposite of what Matt would make. Like, Matt would be caught dead before making such a video.
Matt, if you had to break character to make a joke, to express your sense of humor, what would you do? What would be your medium?
Matt, would
so
you break
speak?
your artistic vision?
I don't know if I'm that deep. if I were to make a YouTube poop, I would probably make it digestible.
Is that a
the
slight
majority
on
could
me?
watch it. It's still a poop. It still makes no sense, but it's good to the ears. It doesn't like just
Oh my God, you
stick a
guys.
sword through it, and you're like, oh my God, what's happening? what's happening?
I mean, I didn't do any of that like super loud blowing out your speakers LOL jokes in this one because that's not. What are you talking about? What was the knife in your ears?
Well, I don't know, like, well, I'm not talking about yours. Well, okay, if we were to talk about yours specifically, like in the beginning with Reggie, like I there is a part that was funny where you're sliding the direct thing over. That was funny. But the part before and after Reggie, where you're just like cutting the words, you just kind of, I just didn't know what was going on.
He's putting a bunch of Pokeball pluses through the vibrant Kanto region of my ass.
You're talking like a robot.
I was gonna say, George turned into a literal YouTube poop.
Fuck it, forget it. Let's just talk about video games and
sure you
other
can, Mr.
dorky
Dollar?
stuff for nerd boys.
We didn't hear a word you said. Audience, we didn't hear a word he said because
He
it
literally has
sounds like
become a YouTube poop.
like I insult him, and then he just starts talking like a robot.
Like, as soon as we started insulting him, Comcast was just like, nope, we can't have him listening to that. We can't have him listening to that.
Why?
He's still a robot.
That was more like, why? Like when Luigi
You sound
loses.
like Wally crying.
Oh my God.
Right
Oh my God.
There we
Okay,
go.
let's.
You're back. You're back.
Am I back? Am I back? Okay,
Yeah.
let's.
Welcome back.
Let's not cut that out. That was perfect.
Well, they won't know. They won't hear it.
George, do you consider it to be a successful YouTube poop? As the only one here who is a fan of the genre, you are the only one really qualified to criticize someone for making a YouTube poop.
Very true.
Yeah.
Do you deem your own YouTube poop, back on self-reflection, as a successful YouTube poop?
I mean, no, because of the place it was uploaded. People are like clearly conditioned to expect smart, wordy journalism videos on that main channel.
I mean, I don't know what's worse, this podcast or that YouTube poop. At the end of the day, it's all garbage, right? So...
that YouTube poop is evidently getting much less garbage. But no, fuck. Let's quit focusing on my garbage. Let's talk about video games. Because we talk about video games sometimes, right? Ow! I hit the mic.
Wow.
Did any of us play any
We're
garbage
worse
games?
than YouTube poop. Holy
No,
crap.
I said that YouTube poop got the worst reviews.
I heard the other way around. Did you hear the other way around, Liam?
I'm not sure. I was reading through those comments and they were far kinder than some of the comments about the podcast.
Maybe they thought the podcast was also a joke.
Maybe they were like, if I last the 2 hours of this incoherent mess, I will achieve some sort of enlightenment in video game journalism.
We're never gonna be able to talk about video games, are we?
I played Fortnite.
You played Fortnite. Was it okay?
Sound the alarms.
Why? Why does everyone
Wait.
Why has everyone turned Fortnite into this like meme of shame and self-hatred?
Matt, I played Fortnite.
How long did you play for, though?
I've definitely played at least 10 or so hours of it.
Whoa!
Whoa!
I know. I fucking know. It's
With
pretty
who?
good.
By yourself?
Yeah, just I was playing squads to begin with because I didn't know how to change the game mode because I'm an old man. And also, for as good as I will praise the UI when you're in the game, when you're in like the lobby bit, it's fucking garbage. The UI is confusing and it's garbage. Like, it's like showing you like rewards you have for like 50 different tier levels, and all the tier levels you don't know how you get those tiers, and then it has like a level which is your actual like account level. The lobby UI stuff is absolute garbage in that game. So half the time I was wrestling with the lobby trying to get into a game mode that I wanted to. Then I started playing solo, And it's pretty fun. I mean, it's on the Switch, so you're playing with other people who are playing on the Switch, so it's not like the highest of quality of players like I imagine you get on the PC. But I will admit, I've been playing it in handheld mode while I've been watching SGDQ, which has just started. And it's been fun. I'm actually kind of enjoying it. Like, it's got the same issues I had with PUBG, but a little less so. I won't dwell on it for too long. George, you played it as well, so you can.
And that sounds like a lot like my opinion on it.
I will
as
admit
well.
it does put into perspective how lucky PUBG got it that they made a pretty shitty product, but because it was first and it was like this new thing, they got super lucky. Because like if they came after Fortnite, for example, they just wouldn't have got anything. Like Fortnite, you can tell is done by a professional studio like Epic. It's still got its like bugs and problems, but like the way you pick up weapons, like they're clearly color coded, so you know what you're picking up immediately. It's so much easier to pick up than in PUBG.
I love that they are like big, glowing, rotating video game pickups, because that means you can spot them from a distance
it's just like,
and know ahead of time if you're going to waste your time holding W to the little houses.
It's like, say what you like about like the art style and stuff like that, and I feel like the character models and stuff come straight out of a game like WildStar or
a different canceled game that got turned into Fortnite.
Exactly, right. Just basic, crappy, sort of cartoony looking stretch.
Oh, I don't think they're crappy. I actually prefer this over more like conventional PUBG photoreal style.
It reminds me of the Sims models, like that. You know the splash screen when you open the game and it has all the characters in the different uniforms and they all look really kooky and zany. It reminds me of the Sims, like with 50 DLC packs installed.
Yeah,
like,
they're all kind of like doing those angular poses where their limbs make harsh 90-degree angles.
I mean, most of the time you're not really looking at the character models, so you just see the big shiny guns on the floor, and it's like they're clearly color coded. They are, as you said, they are like bouncing up and down, so you can clearly see them. And as soon as you hover over them, it tells you what they are. You're not like having to pick them up, then look in your inventory in PUBG and like take like 15 minutes to fucking pick shit up, unless you're like someone who's playing the game for 100 hours. It's very clear like what they are. Like you don't have to waste your time like deciding whether or not something's good and comparing it to like the weapon you already have, and you can clearly see what your inventory is on the screen. Like you can cycle through stuff super fast and super quick. You can also cycle through the building stuff super fast and super quick. Something I didn't really get along with to begin with. I wasn't into the building thing, but the more I played and the more I experimented with, the more I realized it's super easy to defend yourself and sort of throw up a quick like fort, not to play the pun, but
but I don't think you're not supposed to stick to a single fort in the Battle Royale mode,
it's
unless
you're meant to build them quickly to defend yourself and get the higher ground
in the middle of gunfights, which I think is actually a really cool element.
It's really cool, and it's like I haven't got a victory royale thing yet, but I came second in one game in a solo game. And I was basically in a tower off with this other guy, and the eye of the storm or whatever it's called kept like closing in.
And it's an actual storm in this one instead of just like an ambiguous
just like a weird
blue
bombing run by some sort of helicopter or something.
Oh no, the video game mechanic is shrinking over our island.
But like we were having a tower off and it was great fun. We were like running between each other's towers and like trying to shoot each other and chasing each other around and like knocking down parts of each other's towers. It was great fun. And the game still suffers from the fact that, especially if you're playing solo, like it's not as slow as PUBG, but it's still slow. Like you're still
got its downtime.
You're still like wandering across a map sometimes, and you're waiting for the circle to get smaller because then you'll meet other people. But it is a lot. You gotta
gather resources during your downtime. And I feel like that also adds like a huge difference. Like I'm playing it like a. It's probably not going to sound like the most appetizing of comparisons, but it feels like the There's some kind of like Far Cry custom waypointing going on. Like I'm looking at the mini map and I'm trying to draw a shorter line between the next resource I want to gather up so I can build ramps and doorways in the middle of gunfights. And there's that like mental process of constantly making new little goals for yourself and constantly making new little structures that like change your mode of thinking from exploring and shooting to building. If you want to get to the top of a hill or a rooftop, you just plop a staircase right down there on the spot.
It makes like traversing the map a lot more fun
and easy. Yeah,
and also but
smart.
Nothing seems like impossible to climb over. Like in PUBG, you'll get to like houses and you're like, oh, there's someone on the roof, I wonder how I can get up there, and you spend fucking 15 minutes trying to figure out how the fuck you can like Dark Souls platform your way onto a roof, like jumping on 2 bins. Whereas in Fortnite, there's a lot more, it's a lot snappier, and like the building is like everything immediately goes for the easiest option because it knows that's what the player would want, so it like snaps to it. Like if you have like the stairs option selected, like and you're up against the building, it will immediately know that you want to put it like either against that building or somewhere close to it. And it's super intuitive in that way. And there's all this kind of like, you know, traditional video game polish around Fortnite that obviously PUBG doesn't have because, you know, PUBG is like...
Except PUBG has a better main menu.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like the lobby in... To be fair, the lobby in Fortnite is like every MOBA ever. It's just nonsense. Like it's a mess. It's trying to give you like information on all the different things you can buy, all your different levels, all the different things you're about to unlock, like the players who are playing, like all the different game modes.
Separated within like 3 different races of option menu.
It's just a complete mess. And the one thing I will admit I don't like about Fortnite is unless you spend money, like you essentially can't customize your character because you don't unlock anything.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
You don't unlock anything, and you play as just this. To be fair, it's randomly generated, which it keeps it fresh, but you're not allowed to like customize your own like character.
I think it's weird, but knowing that that's behind the paywall in this case kind of makes it okay. I can't complain about the model of this game.
I like that all the paywall stuff is only cosmetic. Like that's fine. That's great.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think Fortnite's fine with the way it does free to play.
Yeah, and you're not unlocking weapons, or you're not unlocking like special boosts for like your glider or any of that bullshit. And
the only thing about Fortnite that really feels like slimy to me is that it's Epic Games and not a smaller studio. Because I don't know, in a weird way, I feel like they got it right. Like you said, PUBG kind of got lucky they got it first. Fortnite, I feel like, did it right. I still don't know if it's like my favorite, but I can see the appeal now.
Well, obviously, Fortnite wouldn't exist without PUBG, so it's kind of an irrelevant thing to say, like, oh, you know, PUBG got lucky. I mean, PUBG had a really good idea. It's just it was executed by a smaller team that couldn't quite handle like what happened. And the game is in this weird disarray of it's full of cheaters, it's full of bots. They're trying to like introduce this whole battle system thing this battle pass system that Fortnite has that hasn't been done very well. They're introducing new maps all the time and to try and keep it fresh. But ultimately, you know, you had this professional studio in Epic. You know, Epic have been around for years and years and years. They know how to make video games. They
also have the capital to make free-to-play stuff more generous than other companies.
Right? So they took something they had that was pretty decently popular and was doing okay, but it was a platform for them to build on. And they were like, hey, that's a really cool idea. Let's do it our way and let's make it better because we're a AAA studio with money. And they did it. And it is a lot more polished and a lot more video gamey, which makes it less boring because PUBG is boring. Boring and broken.
Speak of the devil, I actually played it earlier this week. It's not broken anymore. It's way more polished and faster and smoother and responsive, and they just plain out flat don't even want you playing in the FPS mode anymore. TPP servers are selected by default. They hide the hotkey behind a few. Well, it's always been hidden behind a few menus, but it's H now for some reason. I feel like it used to be G or V, a bit easier to reach. Anyways, I played some PUBG. I got my first chicken dinner. And it was kind of more or less like, even though they have they've polished PUBG, which I feel like I could have screwed up if I said it fast enough. Even though they polished up PUBG real politely, it's still, playing them both back to back was like a confirmation to me of like almost everything you just said.
Yeah.
Because even when I won the PUBG game, like it was still a really, really slow process of
like
mostly
50
hiding
minutes of
instead of doing active, like twitchy gameplay driven by interactive little strategic resource management decisions.
Yeah, like I have
is
played
what PUBG is.
I have played maybe
Fortnite.
10 or so games of PUBG, and I think I've killed like 1 or 2 people, and
You don't have to.
exactly, you don't have to. Whereas in Fortnite, you always come across somebody, and you always end up a gunfight. And I think I've at least killed, on average, 1 or 2 people every game I've played of Fortnite, and that makes it a lot more enticing that you're not just going to be stalking around a map for ages. And I mean, you can play like that if that's your style, and you can take it slow, like the PUBG way, but you're not forced
And there's still
to.
a stealth to it.
You're not
like
forced
footsteps,
to. Whereas in PUBG, you're like forced to. Because otherwise you're just going to
flanking.
get picked off by someone immediately. There is like a sort of, I don't know whether it's because of the player base on Fortnite on Switch at the moment, even though it's cross-platform with PC and Xbox anyway.
It's like that DayZ crowd.
Yeah,
If
like
you ever
PUBG
played
is
DayZ.
like that, with a hardcore PC gaming crowd kind of feel to it. That's the thing, is I don't think I would play Fortnite on PC even after this now. The only reason I'm enjoying it more so than I would normally, because it really isn't the type of game I would get into, but the fact that it works amazingly well on Nintendo Switch in handheld mode is like almost a weird black magic to me. Like, I played it in docked mode to begin with. I was like, well, this is like, a sort of competitive PC game. I'm not going to want to play in handheld mode. And I played a couple of games with the Pro Controller, and it was like, it kind of felt like playing like, a sort of old school third-person shooter kind of thing. And it was a lot of fun. And then I wanted to watch the TV, but I kind of wanted to continue playing, so I gave it a shot in handheld mode. And then it was just the same experience. Like, because because you're not shooting all the time, the controls aren't as big a deal. So switching from the Pro Controller to the Joy-Cons didn't seem that too much of a downgrade. It's not like Team Deathmatch where you're constantly having to aim and shoot. So, I don't know. Like, I don't notice any problems with it in handheld mode. So I've been playing nothing but handheld mode, and it feels really cool to have like this fully fledged PC competitive game like on a handheld. It's really cool.
I'm wondering how you determined that the people you were playing with were console players, though, because I was getting the vibe, and I don't know if it's just because I'm pretty sure I hadn't hit the 10-hour mark, and I hadn't gotten good enough to do this, but there were gunfights where I'd be like slowly turning around with an analog stick held right firmly for a while to look at people who would be whipping up structures in the middle of firing accurate shots.
Don't get me wrong, I've come across those people, but one, I can tell because I'm getting kills and I'm bad at video games. So that's like a telltale sign immediately. And two,
also means there's a big skill ceiling, which is
that's the
good.
thing. Is most of the players I'm playing with anyway are Japanese user-named Switch players. Because you can see when you log into Fortnite, it tells you what server you're on, and it will tell you what console you're on. So it'll say like same platform, same region, or something like that. And like
I was thinking if that was happening.
I haven't changed the settings, so it will be Asian-based players, and also on the Switch, or I think the Xbox as well. So I know they're like console players, and as I said, I'm doing pretty decent at it. Like I consistently come within like the top 15 or so,
and I was not.
And I'm bad.
I got top 4 once, but I haven't managed to get any higher, and I played a good 4 to 5 hours, I want to say, last week. But I've never managed to like feel confident in gunfights on the Switch version. I always feel like I'm a few frames behind.
I don't know about you, George, but on the Switch, because it's the Switch,
maybe I'm old.
It feels slightly relaxing.
Maybe it's the relaxation effect.
Well, I don't know. It's just PUBG always feels like you're being stalked. Like even when I was walking across the map for 10 minutes at a time and not seeing a single soul. In Fortnite, I come across someone if I want it within like 2 minutes. But still, I don't know whether it's the artwork or the way that Fortnite works, or just because it's on the Switch. It just feels ultimately a lot more relaxing. And then when I die, I'm just like, well, I'll just jump into a new game and continue playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I will probably continue to play.
You should let us know, and maybe we'll join you.
We can, as the kids say, squad up.
Have a dad old time.
A dad old time. Oh, Jesus.
So that was a while. Matt, you've been quiet.
You got Fortnite. I mean,
anything?
What is there to really talk about? It's just Fortnite.
Matt,
yeah.
You know, I'm right there with you, and I was saying the same thing. But maybe when Hollow Knight runs out of Hollow Knights to give you, maybe give it a quick shot, just on the Switch. Like,
yeah.
I promise it's at least okay.
I can't remember. I can't remember.
You won't be offended.
I can't remember the reason why I started playing it as well. I watched a video of someone who I enjoy's opinion about video games. I can't remember who it was, but they, I think it was Jim Sterling's video on Fortnite actually. Like, he recently uploaded a video specifically about the Switch version, which is the only version I was intrigued about. And he said he was having a really good time with it, and he was surprised at how much he was enjoying it. So I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't be such an old man, and I should give it a shot.
I have it downloaded. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. So maybe I'll do that after I get every single shard and charm from Hollow Knight, which I'm definitely there.
You're going for completion?
Almost completion. I wouldn't go too crazy, but it's just the stuff that I need, really. But I've went past what I did before and more. Like, I'm done with a lot of stuff. I'm basically there. I'm like caressing the end, I'm seeing the light. But
and the game
it might be a slow grind after that.
In that game.
Yeah. Some of the end boss fight, like especially some of the DLC is kind of, well, it's this one boss in particular that's just a mess. Just a damn mess. And I just don't know if I have it in me. I think I have to give the game a break a little bit and then come back to it because God, yeah, some of the new bosses are pretty insane.
I was wondering about that DLC balancing because the Dark Souls series has gone through some good and some okay DLCs, mostly pretty good. But I noticed in Dark Souls 2 when I was doing the like wintry themed one, the balance was just out of whack. For a lot of single player game in-game content DLCs, they seem to have a really hard time not just ramping up numbers and difficulty to kind of unreasonable restraints. It kind of sounds like that might be what you're dealing with here.
No. It's balanced. It's just you have to kind of learn positioning and what charms you want to be using. Like you can always tell. Like if you're having trouble and you look up like how someone else does it, and you're like, oh, okay, so I should be jumping over this, and it's waiting for this specific time to attack him. And then dodge every freaking thing else. And then, wait for this specific time to attack him. Yeah, like there's stuff like that. And because at first when you see a boss and he is jumping all over the screen, and this is not every boss, this is just a specific boss I'm talking about. He jumps all over the freaking screen and you're like, what the hell? How am I supposed to do this? Yeah. But yeah, there's always a way. It's just you have to keep playing it, and eventually you get the rhythm of it. But most of the game was, for me anyway, was pretty decent. Like it wasn't too difficult, but I'm used to this type of like 2D game. Like Sultan's Sanctuary was pretty in that row of like not easy but normal to me.
Fantastic, underrated.
How many hours
play
have you
it,
put
people.
into it now?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm approaching like I'm in the 20s for sure. I'm not quite 30 years, but probably late 20s. Man never reveals his age.
Speaking of men in their late 20s,
Oh God.
I'm a man in my late 20s
Are you?
who played a video game
He
on
doesn't
Steam. But I just said I am. It would be redundant.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I feel like we're existing in some kind of like kind of green age, if you will, of horror first person exploitation grindhouse schlock on Steam. The same week that Agony came out. You guys know what Agony is?
Oh yeah.
No.
The same, if not the same week, then one of the weeks either immediately after. A game called Lust for Darkness came out that is a first person, also a sexy first person survival horror about kind of demonifying. Is that a word?
Having sex with demons, according to this trailer?
No. It's about demonifying sexy stuff. You're a guy who's exploring a weird cult orgy house where they have a weird cult orgy to summon up a Cthulhian Lovecraft god. Wait, I should have said that the other way around. A Lovecraftian Cthulhu god with their banging, and your main character is like, oh god, I can't handle all these people having consensual sex around me, and they actually do it now. They render rock hard, throbbing, veining, fully textured, fully rendered
Sausage.
just like clipping through the character models into not detailed, not drawn there at all, non-existent fun tunnel.
Oh wow, they're actually showing it in the trailer. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess to market to people who want to first-person horror adventure with Lovecraft themes
with
and banging.
boobs.
Yeah, and I feel like as we are seeing the envelope constantly being pushed on Steam, this might be one of the first Western games I've seen in general that has the fucking in it, but is not like explicitly marketed as a jerk-off game. You know, it's
You know
seems
how
to
like
me
movies can do that, you know?
Yeah, and also like Japanese visual novels on Steam all over the place, and at the center of some of Steam's latest controversies will just be like sentimental, sappy anime romance stories, except suddenly people will start fucking in the middle of it, and that's kind of sort of the pacing that they're hitting here, and it's weird seeing this that sort of Japanese mentality towards incorporating hardcore, uncensored fucking into otherwise non-sexual stories.
You say that, but for some reason, the only game genre that ever has like fucking in it, or tries to do something with like nakedness in video games, is horror games. Like, why is it always horror games? For some reason?
In Japan though. I mean, you got that
like
market of visual novels.
It being out of place in like an anime romance game. At least that's about romance, you know, an integral part to sexual kinship. Yeah, because as Agony goes through the motions, you also like realize that the whole kind of shtick they're going for is how scary genitals look up close, which is shallow, I think. I was like really intrigued, TBH, because games that dig into the Judeo-Christian mythology of what hell is supposed to be come out only every now and then, and I think it's always an interesting setting. Bayonetta surprisingly gets a lot of it right, a lot more than Doom, but yeah, the sex in Lust for Darkness is treated as a framing device rather than the content in the frame itself. And that's what I think marks a clear difference. Like, even Agony is like shoving more
body parts into its imagery and marketing and trying to sell off of that than Lust for Darkness, even though it's still doing a similar thing. And they're both not great, but they're both far more competent and technically executed than I would have expected these kinds of productions with these kinds of themes to get pulled off 5-6 years ago.
I watched the uncensored like stuff they cut out when they had that video uploaded. I think they took it down since then. That was intriguing.
Yeah.
Like the stomping on babies.
I lost interest in Agony
Wait,
the
what?
second reviews came out. Yeah,
Why does it exist though? I guess am I being, is that wrong for me to say? I guess that's wrong
What?
for me to say.
Which game?
No,
Why does which
something
one
on
exist?
babies and stuff like that. Like,
Because they're being edgy. The
I
thing
think
is,
that
I
was
don't
cut
know
out of the
how
full game though. I think they cut that
it
out
was.
of the full game. And
It
also
was.
the babies
And
were,
also
like,
to be
half
fair, they're like
human hybrids.
yeah, they're ghost babies who melt into the ground of hell. They're not real babies, so it doesn't count. And that's I guess kind of like the deflation of seeing that game's premise release and come out as instead of like being an interesting work of horror that does the research into the Judeo-Christian mythology of what hell is supposed to be like and how crazy it would be, trying and probably failing to escape from it. You're just actually playing as the demons, stomping babies, banging succubuses for occasional scenes because that's edgy and can sell things with shock value.
You can bang?
Yeah, that's another one of the scenes they cut out. There's a succubus demon who asks your character to have poorly rendered video game 3D sex with them, and they go all out.
Don't they stab themselves in the stomach and then like abort the baby or something? At
Oh,
the
yeah,
same time?
yeah.
Oh my god, that sounds horrible. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's like
Remember
It's so
Dante's
hard to take
Inferno?
serious though because it looks like shit. It's just red and dark, and it just looks like shit. It's like
Remember Dante's
how anyone would
Inferno?
ever even get slightly aroused by it is.
I don't think you're supposed to be aroused. I think you're
don't
supposed to be
know.
scared.
I
Dude,
don't know.
you don't know people.
Are you sure? Yeah, I guess I don't.
Stick to the YouTube poops, boy.
You see how the lust is way bigger than For Darkness?
Yeah. Also,
There's a reason for that.
the Lovecraftian demon that they're summoning down is I believe, if I remember correctly, the name was Lust Forgotten. Like, they just tack lust onto some unpronounceable Lovecraft jargon and call it a day.
Wow.
Also, I played a VR game called Accounting Plus.
Oh,
Matt,
that
have you heard of
sounds great. That sounds fantastic.
You
What
heard
do you
of-
do in Accounting Plus? I've never heard
Well,
of it.
Accounting Plus is the PSVR version of the Steam
inferior version. Okay.
Oculus VR game called just plain old accounting. You know, us PSVR players, we get the Plus version. It's nice. Accounting Plus is an hour-long Justin Roiland nightmare produced in cooperation between his studio of Squanch Games and Crows, who made like a hip artsy Unity
that's what's his
first-person troubler.
William. That's William.
William.
Q, the guy who did Stanley Parable.
Oh, yeah, okay, because just like the Stanley Parable, I thought that was Davey.
Yeah,
Redden?
Davey Redden and William Pugh.
Okay, cool, awesome. That's funny seeing that name transfer over because they share some narrative similarities. You
That makes a lot of
first
sense.
person trouble your way through some vignettes in which voices play with your expectations of what you can interact with
Are
in
they
this
all
stage.
voiced by Justin Roiland, perhaps?
They're not all, but they all might as well be like different versions of Justin Roiland.
when
Like
when that platformer he announced at E3, and just every character was voiced by Justin Roiland.
Everyone is doing that Justin Roiland thing where they sound like they're really out of breath. They're constantly like screaming the same thing over and over again. They say the same thing and improvise stuff just completely out of their head that makes absolutely no sense. I guess they retroactively script the stuff and then throw it onto a stage because you have like conversations and puzzle solutions that involve like wacky, completely out of the blue and almost like kind of sociopathic and improvisational puzzle solutions, such as is opening a door for cover in a van that is shielding the occupants of the van from gunfire from police, just so that you could continue to solve the puzzles by opening the occupants of the van into fire. And then you shoot the police and kill everyone, and everyone ends up getting shot by police until there's one survivor left. You just have to kill yourself because you're an asshole. And as you constantly like play this game, that there's Deus Ex machinima elements coming out of nowhere that constantly explain things that progress the plot further on, and it like almost sort of comes out as like lazy writing in a certain extent, but at the same time the improvisational absurdism of it is something that I've always found kind of funny because I have a shitty sense of humor.
Wow. Machine gun now.
To do the Justin Roiland thing, you need to answer your own response to that just in a deeper voice.
Oh.
That was pretty good.
Okay, cool.
What?
Just that. Just him answering his own psychotic, high-pitched self with a deep groan sounds pretty perfect.
I don't, George. No, yeah, it's like dialogue is like that. People in Justin Roiland fashion will be like repeating the same thing but slightly different for comedic effect because it sounds like they're making everything up on the fly as they speak through these lines, and they'll be like yelling at you to interact with the puzzle objects. You start interacting with them, suddenly they're yelling at you to put it down. It's very Stanley Parable-esque in that respect, that there's constant narration that is making jokes about your puzzle solutions. And the puzzle solutions themselves are oftentimes things that are just you boiling down the list of possibilities of things to interact with in the environment to the point where it did feel a little weak by the end. I kind of wish it was a little longer and more clever, and that there were more of a budget of interactables and physics objects scattered all around these environments. But it's still cute. It's like a strangely faux, punky, fun, hip art Unity project. I mean, Aaron Hansen shows up. He does the voice. Reggie Watts did a song for it. It's cute.
I'm a fan of Justin Roiland and the stuff he's done. And when Accounting was announced, it did look, because it was sort of one of those games that was in the first lot of like the announced VR games, because it is like 2 years old now, isn't it?
Let me look up the date, because I did not actually hear about it until a couple weeks ago, which makes sense because it's only an hour long. It wouldn't have made a big splash regardless.
Because the VR Rick and Morty game was made after this.
Yes.
But I don't think that was made by Squanch Tendo or whatever they're called.
Squanch Tendo. Let's see. I think December 2017 is when Accounting came out on PSVR.
Yeah.
Let's see when it came out on Steam. October 2016. Yeah, wow. PSVR got it a year and 2 months behind PC. So yeah, they would have like thrown this out as a kind of testing water for Rick and Morty, I'm guessing, which I'll see what that is like soon as I go through the Squanch Games ludography, so to speak. Anyways, you guys got anything else? I think that... Wait, no. Oh, there's one big topic that I think we can all agree on when we get to it. Things will pick up, but until then, do we have any games you want to talk about before we switch to the Chinese cartoons?
Whoa. How dare you? No.
I will say SGDQ has started this week, and I mean, by the time this podcast goes out, especially if it's late, it'll be over by then. But I imagine, and I'll assume, and bearing any disasters, that it would have been a fun and exciting week. I've been watching it so far, and it's been, as usual, pretty good. There was like this Disgaea 5 run yesterday. Like, I don't know if either of you have played any of the Disgaea games before.
Yeah, I thought those
Nah.
games were supposed to be like 100 hours long.
Yeah, so there's like, yeah, exactly, right? And they're like menus upon your menus of messes of tactical nonsense, right? And they're pretty fun, but they are like that. Watching this guy play that game was like putting a video on like times 120 speed. Like, it was
did he have the
fast.
menus memorized by like muscle memory?
Yeah, and I think he had like all the text like to like the fastest speed, and everything happened. The battles happened at like times 100 speed, and it was just insane. And
So
it was like an
looked
hour.
like fast forwarded footage, even though it wasn't.
Watching
That
fast
is-
forwarded
wow.
footage of that would just be like watching a blur.
Oh yeah,
It's incredible. It was,
Everyone remembers the first time they saw that Tetris video
yes.
of that Japanese player just slamming the Tetris grandmasters
Just
into
imagine
oblivion.
someone similar just playing a tactical RPG full of menus at like high speed. It was amazing.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
It was amazing. He was so fast. I couldn't even read the text of the menus. He was going so fast. It was crazy. And like enemies he would just like complete maps within like a minute, and you'd have no idea what enemies he killed or what had happened or anything. It was crazy. But yeah, other than that, I've just been playing Fortnite and watching that.
Well, I decided to
Oh God! Here it
join the
comes.
club
Here it comes.
to respond to the requests to catch up with the two of you guys and
your
share a
anus.
topic with you.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching that esteemed anime series.
Don't try-
Boku.
Don't try and play this
No.
off like you're trying to play the dumb guy, because you've been asking all week about this. Like, you've been intently focused on making sure you watch this and how to watch this. Don't play dumb with us, George.
I wasn't intensely focused on watching it until like 12 hours ago. I had a fan share me some keys for a Crunchy trial roll I was gonna watch it on, but they didn't want to accept my password. They locked me out of the account. By the time I remembered my Crunchyroll account password, it had locked me out. I got a hold of it anyway, and still watched Boku no Academia for the first 3 episodes, and it's good, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now just
yeah.
catch up, and then you'll realize what we're talking about.
so how many episodes do I need to get in before I catch up to you guys? Because there was one day in between the last 2
50.
podcasts.
There's 50
No.
episodes currently.
No.
50.
Okay, well, a couple days after we recorded the previous podcast, I
50.
got on the Dad and Sons official Discord, and before you guys could have watched 50 episodes, I just get on, and I see these giant messages in all capital letters.
of us just stroking ourselves.
Yes.
Just like, oh my gosh, All Might. Yes. Do
me
it.
and Matt.
Yeah, you guys are gushing in these messages.
Yeah, I mean, yo, like, see, this is the thing about these types of animes is that there's gonna be these parts where these arcs where you're not gonna care about anything. All right,
And they're gonna be
that's a little
tropey as
harsh,
fuck.
but you know, you don't care about school. You care about the action. Yeah, you care about their personal growth, but you care
Which
when they're like when they're
even
blasting
even in-
through some people, you know what I'm saying? When they're getting their ass whooped and they overcome it.
even in the first episode though, there's like good ass character development.
Those are and the music is just like pumping, and then you just see the animation is just on point. Oh God, just no, you can't get that from anywhere else, man.
And the animation in that first episode was pretty darn good animation in episode 1. I immediately noticed it cheapen for episode 2, but I'm not gonna complain. But I'm only bringing it up because that first episode looks really good. Like there's super hyper detail in people's faces.
Try not to talk about it too much on Twitter, George, because otherwise people will spoil, in GIF form, some of the best animated parts of that show.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. They will spoil that shit for you, and it is not fair, because there are parts of that series that you just need to see for yourself.
So I didn't know that the endless shonen manga for action anime series for boys that'll never end these days could have animation that was getting that good, because by the nature of the format, like, they got to crank these things out for a very long time. But that first episode had like I mean, and there were some scenes that had a Miyazaki charm to it.
We're in this period now where they knew they kind of fucked up with shonen in the late 2000 eras, because they had Bleach, they had Naruto, and they had One Piece all on like a continual weekly shit show full of filler, trying to just pump out that shit. And then when they caught up with the manga, they'd have to pump out months of filler, and just ratings would drop and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. They realized with shonen they don't have to do that. Instead of putting filler in it, you just do it in seasons and let the manga get ahead of itself, and then you just catch up again. So with shonen, they've been like intently focused on following the manga story, trying to get the best animation they possibly can on the budgets they have, with shorter seasons of episodes, like 10 to 15 episodes. They did it with One Punch Man. They did it with Hunter x Hunter. They've done it with Boku no Hero. And all those shows have benefited from it. And they all have pretty incredible pieces of animation at time for like shonen-based stuff. One Punch Man isn't shonen, but, you know, shonen-based stuff. And Boku no really fucking gets some damn good animation, like, on multiple occasions. Like, I can't believe how season 3 started out. Like, Matt, you know, the fight, Deku and the muscle guy.
Yeah, wait, I have to get to season 3?
No,
to get to the part you guys were capsing?
I mean, to get to the point where we were, like, gushing over, yes. But there are parts in, like, season 1 and 2, George, that you will quickly see. Like,
yay.
You know, early in season 2, Todoroki and Deku, you know, is like one of the best pieces of animation I've seen, like, in 10 years. It's so good. And
what happened to Dragon Ball Super? Didn't have good animation, Liam? I guess it didn't.
Shut up, man.
It didn't.
Shut up, man.
Yeah, garbage piece of...
Okay. But I mean, I might actually have gotten hooked with this one. I really enjoyed those first 3 episodes. Like,
this is the thing,
do you like the story?
I think
or you're liking the animation?
Yeah, why por qué no los dos?
That makes it even better, because, like, you know, Matt doesn't particularly care about this shit, but still gets hyped on this show. Like, what'll make it even better is if you are enjoying the characters, like, arcs and stories.
I care about the characters.
I really like the characters.
You know what I mean? That like, there's boring arcs. There's arcs where I'm just like, yo, let's just go after the freaking villains. Let's just do this.
I agree with you, but we both know George might actually like that stuff.
Oh,
like,
George.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm really liking the dynamic between Deku and the old man. What's his hero's name?
Don't you
All Might?
Don't you sully All Might's
All
name.
Might? You forgot All Might?
Yeah, All Might.
He's
oh my god, All Might's like one of the
He's the greatest.
I was giggling and smiling throughout like all their scenes. I thought that the justification for All Might's actions make a lot of sense. I really liked that the twist for minor spoilers of, I believe, the second episode is that he's just like sucking his gut in and like flexing to activate his superpowers. That was I lolled. Like I think that's funny. I think it's like a kind of like relatable metaphor for
and that's the thing is
how
like
it feels to inflate your image to
like that sets
the betterment of yourself and others. And
stuff like that sets up more endearing stuff to happen. Like basically what you just said.
It's endearing.
Made what happens in season 3 even better.
The setup is important.
The setup is super important in Boku no Hero, and a lot of people have pointed out that it is tropey at times, and it really is, because it's a Japanese fucking anime. Like, what do you expect?
And I was about to go down like a list, I noticed. In the first episode, the main character like has a monologue where he whines about what a loser he thinks he is, as the camera swoops up to the sky. with the crickets chirping in the background as he gives quotes about how he just wants to not be a loser.
Like, just ignore that stuff because you know it's gonna be there. It's an anime. It's gonna be there.
And then no more than a few seconds later, like
it's not It's not bad though.
Absolutely not. I was just saying how a few mere seconds later you find that the main character has a blonde bully who just is a huge piece of shit to him and laughs it up the whole way. And that's like another one. That's tropey as fuck too. And then a mere few seconds later,
like that is the most tropey-est of anime relationships
And then a mere few seconds later,
Bakugo and Deku's relationship. That's like the most.
The scenes of him like crying as a child and like growing up to have his dreams and hopes shattered. I was like, oh, I never felt like this when watching Gamers or Yuru Camp.
Just keep going, George.
And okay,
going.
What? Oh my God, are you smirking right now? I can. Oh, you guys, you fucking guys, you are like smirking with this shit-eating grin, being like, "See, I told George that there was good anime out there."
Well, hopefully you continue to like it and you don't just drop off.
Yeah.
No, I want to get to whatever part you guys were gushing about in the because you guys didn't explain. Like, okay, for listeners at home, let me explain how these messages work. Last Friday at 6:30 p.m., the previous message was when we were recording the podcast itself 3 days earlier. Suddenly, Mad Visual just posts Liam, and then in all caps, "Let's fucking go!" with this image of some anime boy like trying to smash against some giant force of spiky drawing with like dust rising out of the point where he's flexing against an oncoming storm of something undefinable.
And I knew exactly what it was.
In all caps. Dude, I fucking told you! It's so good! And it gets better! And then Matt over here says, "Oh, I'm about to hit the last ep." And then Liam is like, "Fuck yeah! All might!" And I'm just sitting there like behind the screen being like, okay, I gotta participate. This is word of mouth advertising that has sold me on something I need to spend my time on.
It's so hype. It's so hype.
You guys were so hype.
Oh God.
And I want to ask, like, what episode was it that you posted that message during? Because I want to get there at least.
It's like in the 40s, like beginning of the 40s.
Yeah. It's like,
well, I got a journey then.
It's like 3 or 4 episodes into season 3. That's why when I saw that screenshot, I was like, I know exactly what Matt's experiencing, but I also know what he's about to experience. And like Matt, and I know in Matt's mind, he would have been like, this is the fucking pinnacle, man. This is like, how does it even get better? And then it gets better.
Yeah, homeboy shows up. I was like, oh snap.
Oh shit, so fucking good.
So we'll get there. I'll definitely be watching it more when I get some downtime in bed over the next few days, and maybe in a couple weeks I will be up to 30s.
To watch a series all the way through and like got him on the hype train. And there are definitely going to be like people who've been begging us out there who like anime who are going to be like, oh, those guys watching a fucking shonen anime. What's that all fucking about? Getting hyped about shonen. Like, how cliche can you get? It's like...
Well, I mean, it feels like it's the next iteration but at least evolving of shonen.
We got you
like,
there.
Yeah.
The storyline feels like it's set up to last for a long time, but there's also like clearly definable end goals that begin in the first episode.
Every episode with, this is the story of how I became the greatest hero. Like, that's literally what Deku says at the start of almost every episode. It's like
some type of flash
we know what we're going to get to. Yeah. And it's like, do you know what? After the hundreds and hundreds of emails we received with anime recommendations for George, it was mine and Matt's infectious all-cap hype.
Yep. The infectious all-cap hype will like really sell me on a product sometimes. Like if I just see people like typing and if I see a bunch of O's in all capitals, like I will have my eyebrow raised higher than if it like, I don't know, got into the mid-90s on Metacritic.
Hey, are you watching the dub or sub?
Kind of
which one are you
unofficial wishy-washy roping around the official system's fan sub. which is funny and quirky because
if you got it from the place where I suggested.
Well, I did try to get it from Crunchyroll before they locked me out of my account for having trouble remembering the password.
Then the sub that you got it is of pretty good quality.
I think it's cute how it has all the cursing and blood in it, even though it's totally like super visually marketed to kids of a very young age.
Oh, it's so marketed to kids that every new like school year or like after the sort of the you know, the spring breaks that you have, like the school breaks, they have like these things, it's called the Japanese School Visual Media Society or something, and it's like this Japan Board of Education based thing where they make giant posters for things they want students to watch or like view throughout the year. So it'll be like big posters based on like what the popular books are, or big posters based on what the popular Japanese TV show is. And this motherfucking year, up until summer, there is a giant poster of Boko No Hero Academia, and every day when I go to teach at this school, there is a giant poster of All Might staring back at me, and I'm like, fuck yeah. This is
always
where
with
we
a smile.
This is where
He's always puffing his chest out, flexing real hard, saving the day. And then when he's done, walks away and just takes a deep breath out and turns into someone else.
I don't know how,
we've all been there.
I don't
We've
know
all
how
been
anyone could not like All Might.
God, that's such a cool gimmick for a character.
I swear, if this like falls off like Hunter x Hunter, I'm going to do something drastic, man.
Hunter x Hunter, I think.
Hunter x Hunter has like the same concept. Like this guy is trying to get stronger, and he's getting stronger little by little. And then
where did
the person who makes the,
Oh, you mean the manga? You don't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but the manga stop when the manga stops. So does the show stop.
Yeah, like
so they just stopped it at a very huge point of the story.
Yeah. I didn't even bother with the manga. Just as soon as like the 2011 anime ended, like I was like, well, I guess that's the end of the Hunter x Hunter story for me.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done after
the
that.
guy
Unless
who
they
makes
finish
Boko
it, I'm done.
The guy who makes Boko No Hero is actually pretty young. I think he's like in his early 30s. So fingers crossed he doesn't go on for like One Piece long, but at least he goes on for like a couple of years. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, they would have to skip some years then.
I just hope I don't have to watch a couple of years. I mean, hopefully I can catch up to you guys in a week or so.
It's short episodes, man. They're like really short.
Yeah,
you know?
It's 20 minutes. You know, you'll
drill them
like,
out.
If you really try, you can catch up by the end of the week. You know.
Yeah, well, when you have a second, when you're eating, you just watch an episode, and eventually you'll just be there.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Let's see if next week I'm joining the. Wait, what?
Don't get addicted. You're gonna hit one of those arcs where things are gonna get hype, and you're gonna be like, okay,
yeah.
Not gonna do a video this week.
Let's see if next week I end up like mashing that O button with caps lock on just with you guys.
Whoa! I'm looking at pictures of the guy who makes it.
Does he look like a cool dude?
Orokoshi Kohei. He's a handsome fella. He wears a gas mask quite frequently, but he without the mask.
Wait, what?
He's a handsome fella.
Oh, that hair.
Orokoshi Kohei is his name. He wears
I am
like
Google image searching this man right now.
He wears a gas mask. Oh my god.
He wears a gas mask. Yeah, he does. But you can see the one picture of him not wearing the gas mask. Can you see it?
No.
Oh.
I just know him as the gas mask guy now. Oh my god.
Well,
he's wearing it in all the pictures. Oh my gosh. Wow. Anyways, that's anime, right?
Yep, that's
Dad's
on
anime. On Wikipedia, he is kind of he's pretty attractive actually.
He is a pretty attractive dude. He's only 31 as well.
Has some feminine features there.
He does.
I feel like you guys are objectifying him.
I mean, he is kind of a sexy guy.
He is.
He is more than just his hair and chin. Come on.
Do you know what? Like for this audio non-visual podcast, to describe him to anyone who can't see, he looks like a vampire. Like, you know, like a traditional,
like a Tommy
sexy,
Wiseau vampire,
white-shirted, long-haired vampire.
Yeah. So I'm gonna watch this vampires anime over the next week, and see how much my hype is still going when I give it more than 3 episodes, because those 3 episodes were pretty strong.
Well,
pretty good.
Just watch it all, and then we can go fight by fight by, you know.
So when I get to end of episodes,
this will become the anime
something
podcast, sponsored by Crunchyroll.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shit, when is that happening? I need some money.
Oh. Hang on, let me just write our pitch to the...
It's the easiest pitch in the world. It's the easiest pitch in the world. We subject famous YouTuber Super George Weedman Bunny Hop to anime. Please sponsor us. And, you know, within a week, it will happen. Sponsored by Crunchyroll.
And maybe we'll hear those messages during these breaks.
Now that you have summoned me, what are your 3 wishes?
Well, first, we want a car that has an audio system from Sony for listening to our favorite tunes.
Yeah, tunes!
Okay, got it.
Second, we want another car, but this one comes with a rear view camera so you can see where you're going when you reverse.
Actually, you can get both of those things
Finally, a third car with an EPA estimated 42 highway miles per gallon, in case we need to drive around Planet Namek finding the Dragon Balls again.
No, all of those features are either standard or available with the Ford Focus. You've just used one wish.
So yeah, those are our 3 wishes. 3 different cars with 3
Enough! I'm just giving you the Ford Focus.
It's beautiful.
Hello!
Shouting into the void.
Hello!
The abyss.
I found my way back to the Dad and Sons podcast.
Oh.
For
welcome back.
the week of June 25th, 2018, to talk about 2 weird news stories that happened in days prior. The World Health Organization has classified gaming disorder as a mental health condition. It
Finally.
It's about time they did some real work.
It shares a similar place to gambling disorder as a clinical condition that people cannot self-diagnose themselves with. They're not associated with psychoactive substance, but at the same time being considered as addictive as addictions. So it's using the same psychological motivations that gambling addiction does, that people super know about, that people have super been aware of since the advent of loot boxes. And maybe this thing, gaming disorder, being something considered and publicized and classified by the World Health Organization, might be spooking EA away from having gambling-like mechanics in their games now. I am more remembering those stories from South Korea of people literally dying from just like becoming too depressed to do anything other than play StarCraft.
Do you know what's funny? I don't doubt that gaming addiction can be a disorder, because you can be addicted to everything.
Anything.
Especially MMOs and like, loot boxes.
Video games come in all different of genres, variety. They are MMOs, MOBAs, and they are like 1 hour long VR experiences. Like, the problem is like not classifying it as a certain type of video gaming addiction. Like addiction to games like MMOs or MOBAs. Games where you farm for stuff or you play competitively, consistently.
It would be a little silly for them to call it like microtransaction disorder or MMO disorder. But I get what they're talking about. I'm not real offended by this because people have died by using video games as a very poor decision as a very poor outlet for very poor decisions, and as a crutch for addictive personality problems that I believe should be looked at, regulated, and cured to help people live a happier, more balanced life who are at high risk categories.
Digital heroin.
I don't know about that. That's kind of a line CNN threw in about the concerned parents. But if I was writing this, I would reference those people who had died in South Korea of playing StarCraft too much.
This is the weird thing in comparison to that, like this Fortnite mania thing, where like it's now the Pokemon pandemic of like the early 90s, where, oh my god, your children's brains are gonna rot because they're addicted to this brand new thing. It's like,
which was years before people were dying of StarCraft.
yeah, it's like kids are dumb. Kids are gonna non-stop play video games if you allow them to do it. It's like, what do you expect of a child?
It's the same thing as eating,
right? Exactly, right?
Yeah. I'm
And it's
addicted
like,
to eating.
it's entirely then not the fault of the developers or anyone responsible for creating the game. It's literally a parent's responsibility to stop them or regulate how much they play.
One thing that I think is a factor that does exist outside the qualifications of one's own mental and physiological health is that when we were kids, Pokemon was the thing kids were all addicted to. Like, it didn't utilize a lot of this same Skinner box carrot on a stick mechanics that MMOs like explicitly do. And
that's irrespective to parents taking responsibility for how much their children play a video game.
Which is true, and a lot of kids are born into situations where they're not going to have strong parents.
Like how much people... That's more to do with addiction and spending money, I think, in a more gambling sense.
And I feel like this is going down the same nature versus nurture debate that sees the government trying to regulate most, if not all of the usual vices. And the thing is that I just feel like once someone dies of something, that's the line that you cross. That line was not crossed in 1999 when Pokemon was becoming huge. It was around 2005, 2006 when I started hearing stories of MMO obsessions seriously screwing up people's lives. And then around like 2008 to 10, I think, was when people, that small handful, to be fair, very, very small handful of people in South Korea were dying of playing StarCraft to death in the PC bongs. And according to the doctor who prescribes it, it fits the qualifications for a clinical gambling addiction kind of disorder. There's quote, a persistent or recurrent behavioral pattern of sufficient severity that has emerged after the activity takes precedence over other activities, to the extent that other activities are taken to the periphery. Apparently playing video games in the state of being addicted to video games to the point where it's a disorder that's seriously fucking your life impairs control of your other behaviors when you get too sucked into video games. Even when negative consequences occur, this behavior continues to escalate. A diagnosis of gaming disorder then means that there's the persistent and recurrent negative qualifications of your life going downhill as you're playing too much StarCraft and not eating or drinking in the PC cafe. Other things this doctor is saying people are reporting are disturbed sleep patterns, diet patterns, deficiency in physical activity, which are also symptoms that, well, not shared, but more or less like inspired and crossed over from the gambling disorders.
I don't know, like, there's literally nothing really that can be
there's
said
still people who
about
argue about it, even if this is a thing.
We are not qualified doctors. We are obviously very... I mean, I struggle to even turn on my Nintendo Switch or PlayStation 4 some days. And I procrastinate via YouTube or my phone. So it really is of irrelevance to myself. And it is, as you said, sort of, it's only certain aspects of different types of video games that relate to like MOBAs or MMOs or... everyone's banging on about Fortnite. So the only problem is when stuff like this gets generalized and it's a video game addiction, and then like what happens is then countries or like regulators try to take this and then brand it to all video games or all types of video games. And then like there are certain rules or regulations that get introduced that make it harder to play video games, to get hold of video games, and they make it ultimately worse for everyone. That's when it becomes a problem. Whereas right now, It's just kind of just like, well, no shit. People get addicted to stuff. Like, that's just what happens.
There is something to be said of what I believe is like a modicum of moral panic to it. But at the same time, the World Health Organization doesn't make laws. They are not the regulators. They're...
No, but what I mean is then you have batshit crazy people like Jack Thompson and other people who take this kind of quote unquote scientific information, and they use it as ammo to get things changed regards towards video games. And then that's when generalizing all video games as bad for you, or like as an addictive quality, is when it could be getting quite bad.
Which is why maybe they should call it something else other than gaming disorder, gaming addiction.
They should look into gaming addiction in subcategories of what type of games really affect people or player bases the most. Like, I don't think there are
emaciation.
Gonna be, there's not going to be like an abundance of people addicted to the game Journey or What Remains of Edith Finch,
No, because those last an hour. You can't keep hitting those.
I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of like addictive bug to each of them.
Once you consume them once, you're supposed to be done. It's not something meant to take a quick hit from throughout your day.
Yeah, we have all this kind of stuff. It's the same with the gun crime problem in video games.
Well, I personally believe that one is very easily solvable, but that's going to make some people mad.
Both are ultimately just ammo for people who want to change or do harm to video games as a culture or part of people's conscious being. Like, people are using this Fortnite mania to do harm towards the video games industry and video games in general. And, it will die down like it did with Pokemon and everything. But the World Health Organization doing something like this and just generalizing all video games as addictive things is not good.
I mean, I don't know about that. Hang on. I'm gonna bring up a PDF of the report itself.
Well, you know what I mean, George. Like, you are a person who will bring up the PDF, but there'll be like 50 other people who will take the headline and be like, "Oh shit, video games are addictive. Whoa, best do something about that."
So they have disorders due to addictive behaviors include 2: gambling disorder and gaming disorder, and there's just other. They actually clarify between an offline and an online gaming disorder. They have the exact same descriptions, except with 2 words changed. Gaming disorder is predominantly online, is characterized by a pattern of persistent or recurring video gaming behavior that is primarily conducted over the internet. Gaming disorder predominantly offline is characterized by a pattern of persistent or recurrent gaming behavior that is primarily not conducted over the internet. Impaired control over gaming, increasing priority given to gaming, continuation or escalation of gaming. Yeah, they don't specify anything about genres or specific mechanics in here. But,
I don't know.
I mean, if doctors are seriously screening for this stuff, they're going to find that the people at risk probably play certain genres with certain mechanics.
And I think it has something to do with mental health, in my opinion. I mean, mental health is it's pretty much everything.
That's the whole effort, right?
All addictions,
to help people figure their mental health out.
Yeah, certain people get addicted to certain things because, certain things that happen in their life, or,
and if someone becomes addicted to World of Warcraft and there are no resources for them, or their problem just gets laughed at by doctors and people, then that's the idea here.
Yeah, there's an escape. It's just plenty of other ways. Like, video games is just one of those things that people use when they're not feeling well or whatever mental state they're in. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like your mom complaining that you listen to certain types of music or whatever like that. You're going to turn into a psycho and blah, 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 blah. You're listening to all this rap and
the people who turn out into psychos need better health services.
I listened to all types of music when I was young. I turned out just fine.
Because you got lucky when you dice rolled at birth.
Yes.
Some people don't have that advantage.
Gambling. Yes.
We never know what kind of things we'll find comfort in. I think, me and Matt have just harped on about an anime, moving pictures on a screen for 20 minutes. You never know what kind of solace you'll find in media and stuff like that. But yeah, there are people who need help. But there is also, on the flip side of that, harm to an industry by just generalizing it as an addiction. Addiction is in no way, apart from maybe if you classify sex addiction, no way a positive thing. It's always a negative connotation. So
No, sex, that would still not be a positive thing.
well, yeah, I know.
To the point of like blocking out food and sunlight and eating to do something else, that's a problem.
Yes. So my point being, addiction is only a negative connotation. So when you're generalizing the term video game addiction, everyone will take that at face value as all video games because people don't read.
Especially the simple people who don't
the
read.
people
They get all
who
their
will
news
then-
from one source.
Yeah, the
One
people
biased
who will
source.
they will then go out of their way to use it as ammo for everything else. So
Space Force.
Speaking
of making video games,
speaking of entities that have the power to change or alter and harm video games, there's a lawsuit going on by a video game company against another video game company. I think this one has like a little more merit than the usual guff, like freaking Blue Hole suing Fortnite, but only in Korea. Anyways, Bethesda is suing Warner Brothers for alleging that Warner Brothers' Westworld mobile game is a ripoff of their Fallout Shelter mobile game. They say this not because they're similar games with similar interfaces and genre styles, but because the straight-up source code is in there. The third-party developer they outsourced to make not outsourced, but according to official sources, collaborated with to make Fallout Shelter did a Westworld mobile spinoff that is allegedly pretty darn close to a reskin of Fallout Shelter, enough to the point where they can give it a lawsuit because they evidently have found that the source code's in there, and you can't.
That the game literally had the same bugs. Like, it wasn't that it had
the same glitches.
Like it had the same bugs in it that Fallout Shelter had, and it's like that ain't no coincidence.
and this is a far more so than like trying to gauge trademark or copyright infringement from the look and feel of a product. Having the source code of another product in there that is supposed to be proprietary property of one company, like that's something that is identifiable. It's a lot more black and white. It's a lot more easy to prove that a company was not doing their due diligence making original content when it's the source code at stake and not the style. Again, I don't think there's probably far less we can comment on in this one, but that's I guess my like controversial devil advocate opinion on that one is that this lawsuit seems like it is okay because the issue is over source code. Well, not necessarily theft. The thing is that I guess it still counts as theft if like it's supposed to belong to Bethesda, but the developer reused it with a different client.
Oh yeah, it's theft. It's,
it's
software
can't
theft.
get into the legal definitions. We're not experts.
It's trademarks, copyright in software. You're stealing. It's like stealing music.
Yeah, but in the world of legalese, words like theft, infringement, copyright, and trademark all mean really different things, even though they're kind of synonyms to everyone else.
I mean, watching some gameplay of the Westworld thing right now, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to compare.
It is just Fallout Shelter.
And it's so easy and often to pick on IP lawsuits like this for... Like, remember when Bethesda was suing... Bethesda's a very sue-happy company. Remember they were suing Mojang for the use of the word scrolls?
Yeah, and they changed the name recently, and that game got released again. Did you see that?
That was kind of bullshit. That
game got released again last week.
And they don't even want to try to call it scrolls. Scrolls as a word existed long before the Elder Ones.
Yeah, but not in a video game term.
Well, video games use the same language as the rest of the language that they're made in.
Didn't they win as well?
I don't remember. I think
There was some sort of
I just
settlement
don't
where they had
remember.
to...
There was some sort of settlement. I don't
They
think
weren't allowed to
it
call
was
scrolls.
as cut and dry as like winning or
Anyway,
losing.
Notch made it, and no one gives a fuck about Notch anymore.
I mean, it doesn't matter. He's making that money. Well, he has that money.
I think he decided that he was going to keep making games, but under pseudonyms from now on for a while to see how they do. He's doing a Stephen King, I guess. Yeah, I mean, suing a game for ripping off the looks, feel, and style of another game, even if it's from the same universe, is a little, or from a visually different inspired universe, is sketchy. Stealing a game for using source code that they were explicitly contracted not to use for a different game project, that feels more reasonable to me.
I don't know. Just don't copy people's shit,
Liam said as he was about to transition over into our new game show segment.
Shit, oh god, don't call me out like that. So,
Wait, is that the game show music?
Yeah, I think that's the
I'm
intro and outro
trying to draw
music.
attention away. I'm trying to draw attention away from me.
You're gonna clash
About
with
copying.
the intro music.
Speaking of
And
getting
it's gonna be
sued,
great.
we very soon might do. Because we got a new
we're not
segment.
gonna get sued for Dad Din.
Don't. I have like a whole big intro planned and you ruined the great name. We're gonna criticize you. Anyway, a couple of episodes ago, you may have noticed, we dropped our Name That Game segment. And we've been ruminating over...
Might be back, but for now.
We've been ruminating over what kind of ideas we should have for a new segment, and we thank you all for your suggestions. We still continually would like suggestions on the show and segments that you would like to see and hear us talk about. So we've been ruminating with many ideas, one of which we came up with this afternoon.
For you, we hashed these details and rules out before I went to bed and woke up and ate breakfast and had everything planned out ahead of time.
It was literally a couple of hours ago, but it was so good that we couldn't.
It was like 12 hours ago.
It was so good that Matt didn't even realize we were doing it until we started the episode.
Yeah, so good.
But we are bringing a new segment to the show called Dad's Den. Welcome.
Tell us about Dad Din.
Welcome, fellows, to the Dad Den.
I didn't name this, by the way, audience. Didn't name this at all.
Welcome to Dad Den. It's a reference to the I didn't even know this, to the original Japanese TV show Dragon's Den. I didn't know it was originally from Japan. And, we had multiple spin-offs, including Dragon's Den in the UK. That was literally what it was called. And also, you American fellows know it as Shark Tank.
So we went from this topic where companies were getting sued not for copying the look and feel, but the source code. And we here at the Dad and Sons podcast love to copy the look and feel, but not the source code of our inspirations. That's the line.
And we're not calling it, Dragon's Den. It's Dad Den.
We're calling it Dad Den.
It's
What
clearly
about like
different.
Dad's basement or Dad's closet?
Because it's
Dad
not an
Pit?
alliteration, Matt. It's
Dad
not an
Tank?
alliteration or a rhyme.
Dad Container?
This is why you were not on the idea board committee.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So, Dad's Den is this new game? I don't know. Discussion-based segment where you guys pitch a game idea to us. We want your emails, dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com. We want your emails explaining to us your game idea. Have you always had a game idea in your head and that no one would ever listen to your $1 million game idea? The perfect game in your mind. Well, now you can get it heard to thousands of people out there who will also not listen. But we will try.
If you want to hear, 70% banter trying to come up with some stupid bullshit to say about your idea, and maybe 10% real advice about how cool it actually sounds, and 20% other.
Yeah.
Daddin is your new favorite thing on the internet ever.
Send us some garbage. Send us some real bad garbage.
Send us some like terrible ideas, or like if you genuinely have an amazing idea or that you think is amazing, please send it in to us. So basically, for this first try of the segment, we have tasked George with coming up with his best game idea that he possibly could. Now, there are some things that we want to be looking out for when we get your pitches. You know,
we have a format.
We have a format. So we're going to want the name of your game. We have to have a title, you know, some spicy flavor in your title immediately hitting us. We're going to need the gameplay concept or the main mechanic, you know, think Bionic Commando and his arm, think Super Mario Odyssey and Cappy, some other genius game idea made by a millionaire game developer who you think you could do better than. Like, get that main mechanic.
With less time and money, too.
Yeah. The art style. We want to know what the art style you're going for. Are you making it in 3D? Are you wanting some sort of stylistic El Shaddai style video game? Are you going like full ass pixel art? You know? What is the art style you're going for? Also, what are the themes? What is the thematic elements to your video game? Is it a modern warfare based shooter? Is it a World War II based shooter? Is it a trek across multiple different planets based on different concepts of human planets, like Mario Odyssey? Is it like that?
No.
Try to be concise.
No Man's Sky. Don't put Mario.
Like No Man's Sky too. What is the thematic elements to your game? And
do you think the first email we're gonna get is just gonna be, "I want my game to be like No Man's Sky good," and that's it?
But with multiplayer, that works. And we were not lied to. Sean Murray, everyone's still out to get you. And then the final two things we want, and this is for us to then decide whether we would buy your game idea and let you make it, is your projected money budget. Because we are interested to know how many of you think what it would take to make your idea happen. We have a little bit of experience with investing in projects or time and money. So we're interested to know how you think your budget would match up to your scope, let's say. And then tying in with that is the time you think it would take to make your game. Because, you know, some of us could be like Todd Howard and announce a game in June and then get a game out by October. Or we could all be like Hideo Kojima and take years and years and years. So we want name, gameplay concept or main mechanic, the art style, themes, the projected money and time budget. And then we will criticize your game. So, to be the first guinea pig and test subject of this new segment, in hopefully what won't be a complete and utter train wreck of a disaster, George Reedman, please welcome. Welcome, George Reedman, to the show.
Oh, it's not going to be a train wreck and a disaster because I'm submitting real shit. I'm submitting a cool-ass game idea I have that I've wanted to see people make. That I might make myself when I, like, grow up and become old and rich and have money to invest in media projects. Maybe that'll happen someday. A man can dream.
So we have our expert panel of judges, me and Matt, to
sweat
decide
dripping
whether or not
nervously.
we would invest in George's video game. So, George, please, pitch us your idea to Dad.
All right. Are you guys ready to hear the name?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Cyberpocalypse Now.
Oh, boy.
So we're off to a very punny start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're now off to a good start.
Yeah.
Cyberpocalypse Now.
Next
I'm going to
slide.
mark you down there.
It's a lightning-fast Unreal Tournament 2004 style FPS combat game. It's going to be a single-player campaign of story-driven arena levels in which a lot of your first-person shooter gameplay is going to involve timing-heavy moves rather than precision-heavy. I'm thinking of
Doom
marrying...
2016 with a different name.
Fuck. We're already going on a great track here. I'm thinking of and yeah, you're totally right. Kill me. I'm thinking of combining the pacing and mechanics and risk versus reward systems of platinum action games that I have loved as a young adult to the fast, skill-based speed of arena shooters that I loved so much as a teenager. You will have a number of weak guns that auto-target on enemies to a not very generous but subtle amount, and a couple of railgun sniper rifle style weapons that will require more precision aiming that will get real damage in, combined with a bullet time button and enemies. Oh my!
Is this
what?
Vanquish?
Oh no, not Vanquish. Vanquish is a cover shoulder shooter. This is going to be like first person.
Vanquish requires you getting in there, sliding, bullet timing, and all sort of precision.
Right. But imagine, if you will, doing that from a first-person perspective against common enemies that are about as small and agile as your usual players in an Unreal Tournament game.
How are you going to deal with the
online
FPS camera
Vanquish,
working?
right? Online Vanquish. That's what.
No, in Vanquish, you're a third-person guy who has a camera hovering over them and you stay in one spot. In this game, I want you circle strafing. I want you running on walls. I want you, like, flying through low-gravity space arenas. I want a final boss fight in the middle of a wormhole scene from 2001: The Space Odyssey. I want to follow the quest of a young up-and-coming rookie participating in the blood sport of the future in the cyberpunk dystopia of year 2666, in which they work their way up through a Rocky-esque tale of overcoming underdog, disparate discouragement to rise out on top as the up-and-coming star athlete of this futuristic lightning-fast FPS blood sport in which people die. Don't talk. Don't ask too many questions about how the sport that this character in the Cyberpocalypse Now universe is taking place in. But
to condense it down,
there will be callbacks to gladiatorial games and
to
sports.
Condense it down a bit, because we're only on the second bullet point here. Your picture and your scope are quite large.
Yeah, we're investors here. We need it in English.
We haven't got time to listen to all of this backstory of all the characters. You want to make a story-driven FPS with bullet time like Doom 2016. Sounds good.
Well, Doom 2016 wasn't like a contained arena shooter. Like, it was a corridor shooter from start to finish. I want to have like a single-player sports game.
No. Like, this second level of Doom, like, you're on Mars and you're, like, in this up and down vertical-based arena area that you have to, like, move and navigate through things and jump on top of, like, hills to, like, find all the different enemies before you progress to the next arena. Like, Doom 2016 was, like, small segmented arenas that were definitely not corridor shooters, I don't think.
But you don't understand. Cyberpocalypse Now will have a good soundtrack, too.
Okay, so speaking of, like, going into the, sort of nitty-gritty of it, what is the art style in which you are going to go for?
Human-only spacefaring cyberpunk dystopia of the year 2666 is what I had in my notepad. To further elaborate, I'm basically imagining like Gears of War, but with more neon and more lighthearted outfits.
Okay, so I heard Doom with Sunset Overdrive. Okay.
Right.
Yeah! Fuck yeah! All right.
This is why we're the
next question.
Here. What is the thematic elements there? You said cyberpunk, like cyberpocalypse.
Oh
now,
yes.
But I haven't heard much
cyberpocalypse now.
I've only really heard like shooting shit.
Like 90s cyberpunk, 90s.
Yeah, 90s
sci-fi?
cyberpunk 2077 cyberpunk, the board game cyberpunk.
I want to say Johnny Mnemonic style cyberpunk, except without actual cyberspace, just people in really messy, dark, foggy, wire-covered environments getting onto computers to watch like a Quake IRL kind of sport.
So it's like a blood sport in space.
Yeah.
And to the background of a Sunset Overdrive Doom-based video
Gears
game.
of War.
I mean, more Unreal than Gears of War, but basically Unreal, but playing like a platinum action game with fun cyberpunk themes.
We're condensing this a bit better now. So I can imagine an Unreal level dressed up in neon with crowds Like, you know the scene in Thor Ragnarok when the Hulk and Thor fight? Matt, you know which guy I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know it. Of course, I know.
I
It's just he doesn't watch movies.
That
Good movies,
scene-
apparently.
He's watched
That
Thor
was-
Ragnarok.
All right, what
When
about
did I say I
Thunderdome?
watched
You
Thor
watch
Ragnarok?
crappy movies. Thunderdome.
Thunderdome was fun. Yeah.
But Matt, you know what I mean, right? And
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
audience
know what you
who
mean.
watch, that's what I'm envisioning. Like that scene, like the
Okay.
crowds and the sort of like.
But as investors, the other investor telling me about your idea, this is going really, really bad.
Yeah, that's
It sounds
true.
like this game has been made before.
Themes will include blood sport, athletic lifestyle, societal corruption. There will be callbacks to gladiatorial games of Rome, but filtered through modern nihilism and retro cyberpunk.
Oh my god.
See, the only part you've got me lost on here is that it's a single player story driven thing, but you're taking place entirely in arenas in space.
Oh my god.
Like that one.
You will not be the one pitching a game. Like you would have like instead of just a couple slides on the PowerPoint, you would just have just a good. I don't know.
George
like
is the guy who turns up. George is the guy who turns up. And
50 page.
He's got cards, and he's like,
You will have
he
graphs.
throws the cards
charts.
away, and he's like, I'm going off the books. Like, just let me tell you about the game. He's like Joseph Fares.
As opposed to fairs. But no, listen,
Fairs,
gentlemen. I
called
believe
us gentlemen.
that this product could create a fourth quarter stimulating effect for your bonuses.
How much money are we talking here, Weedman? How much money do you want?
2021 release date towards the fall for $8 million.
Whoa, 8 million, and you want it to take 3 years of development? Like, how big is your team? Is it
2.5
people?
No, we'll just have like good. Wait, 8 million would be like 3 people. Is 8 million a misleadingly small number
Well,
in game development budgets? Because I feel like it might be.
Like, how much money are you going to spend on marketing this game? Is it a AAA
Oh, fuck
game?
that. Well, let's see. You guys are investors, so Cyberpocalypse Now will be a AAA competitive experience.
Wait, you said it was a single-player story-based arena shooter.
Yes, and I never did not say that just now when I told you guys that it was a competitive experience.
Oh my god.
I like where this is going. This gives people who are going to pitch their ideas
Yeah, right. A good train
an
wreck
example
is always a good way to show what they need to do.
to show like what not to do.
Yeah.
So for $8
I mean,
million,
there is essentially a good idea in there. Just you're way off
Very
base
ambitious.
with everything else. It's very ambitious. You want 8 million for 3 years of development, like, and marketing including in that. Like if it's a AAA game,
no,
we gotta
we'll do-
compete against like Rockstar and stuff. And
Yeah, you really like the word AAA. So Cyberpocalypse Now, AAA
Yeah.
competitive,
Your game
engaging
will
experience.
definitely be a mighty number 9 situation, you know?
Are we kickstarting this? Have you thought about a Kickstarter?
Why would I be kickstarting it? Wait, don't a lot of games also get Kickstarters and private
Yep.
investors at the same
Yeah,
time?
of course they do. Yeah.
Double dip in the chip, man.
Now, what I want to show you is a crowdfunding campaign for the next 4 months, launching at the end of this next quarter, that will show proof of interest from a core fan base of
do you have a
Do you
video
have,
for
like,
it that you will put on the Kickstarter channel?
fuck Vegas. Where's Vegas? Yeah. Just give my associate a minute, and I'll whip
Do you
us
have, like,
something up.
We're in the middle
Do
of
you
a
have, like,
meeting,
a
sir.
star?
We need that video like now.
Yeah. Do you have like a star member of your team who's joining? Like, you know, when you have like one of those Kickstarters and it's like, we have Mega Man 9 composer Yoko Shimomura joining us for our Kickstarter if we reach a certain goal. Do you have like that? Do you have someone joining you?
Hey, Matt, what are you gonna be up to?
I was thinking like Hideki Kamiya, not Matt Visual.
right. I'm sorry. I'm so low on the totem pole there. On
it's
your
just-
on your
you're not-
name dropping
You're
little
busy.
pole
You're
there.
busy, Matt. Matt,
See,
we're
for
a team,
$8
Matt.
million,
Don't do this.
For only $8 million, we have a production budget that will not include celebrity development. We feel that is a kind of portful, wasteful way of spending a volatile production budget. What we're going to do is hire up a bunch of people from Newgrounds to make our 3D first-person project using Flash and Silverlight. We're going to have a soundtrack with that $8 million budget. That soundtrack is going to be made by
someone in
new
a local
hip
artist
Some
in
grad
Georgia.
student.
Yeah. The band is called Creative Commons. They're
Okay.
kind of a synthwave.
I think we've heard enough.
No.
Matt,
He needs to describe the video. Since we obviously don't have the video, you need to describe what's happening.
Right.
In the video.
Okay. So here's
what do you know? He's just playing a scene from Thor Ragnarok.
Hey, my associate, what's like a video editor, Steek Wozniak, is going to now present to you guys a presentation
Why would the
of
video editor
what
be presented?
what the look and feel and the estimated target render for 2.5 years from now will be
look like.
for Cyberpocalypse
What
now.
platform are you launching on as well in 2021?
Let me talk over the video to say
I
that
can't
we're going to
believe
be
you said
looking
that
for
so
a release platform of current and next generational consoles.
Oh my god. He sent us movie clips.
Can we guarantee that Keanu Reeves will take part?
Would he be voicing the character?
Well, like I said, we want to trim some excess expenses for like novelty celebrity appearances and whatnot. We're going to be trying to keeping things on a let's say like a
I was in when you
middle
sent me
to
clips of
high
Keanu
class.
Reeves.
Well, what we
This is also
we
not
don't want
very
Keanu
cyberpunk.
Reeves. We want the look and feel of Keanu Reeves.
He was good in John
The-
Wick. What are you hating on Keanu?
The look and feel of
I'm
Keanu
not hating on
Reeves.
Keanu. I fucking love Keanu. That's why I'm investing if Keanu's involved.
The look and feel of Keanu. In that case, the look and feel of Keanu Reeves will be playing the voice and facial model of your. Oh well, we also need a female. Okay, who's?
See,
Who
I
fit
was
right
gonna
in?
make
Oh
that.
shit! I forgot Ice-T was in this movie.
Yes, we'll have diversity. You can choose between the look and feel of Keanu Reeves, the look and feel of Ice-T, or the look and feel of Lucy Liu.
I can't believe
Wow.
this was before the Matrix.
Blast on the fast.
I wonder if anyone can guess what movie he sent us.
Oh my god, this is so bad.
So what do you
whoever lasted through that.
gentlemen? The dads of the
We've
dad.
heard enough. We've
den.
heard enough
What?
today on Dad Den. Matt, are you going to be
Dad
investing?
den.
No, it's a strong no.
Strong. I see.
Strong.
You meant to say thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. I'll be on my way.
Hey, okay.
Well, all right. You know what? If
You don't want to hear from me? That's fine.
if
That's cool.
you can get a
you can-
kick, if Keanu Reeves, you get him to kick me in the
Keanu
stomach,
Reeves.
then I will gladly give you $8 million.
Is that what you get a kick out of? Literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting a kick out of a kick.
I want
If you
that.
can spend your production budget on getting Matt to invest the money that he would have spent on Keanu Reeves kicking him in the stuff, I don't think this works, Matt.
No, it's
Like
it's
you would
fine.
just be paying for Keanu Reeves to kick you in the stomach.
Yes.
So what about our next judge?
I mean, you had me at Vanquish, you lost me at story-based Unreal, and for as much as Cyberpunk is the in
I see.
thing now, in 2021 you didn't even have a platform in which you were going to launch on, and you promised me Keanu in your video, but then you were gonna have like those Kingdom Hearts actors that like knock off Johnny Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean style.
Johnny Depp.
Hey,
I'm just not in. I'm sorry.
Johnny Depp. I
Johnny
see, sir.
Depp.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's a
We'll be on our
softer
way.
no than Matt, but it's a no.
All right, come on, guys. We're gonna go to Indiegogo now.
Or Fig.
he's talking to himself because
We heard
actually there's
Fig.
no one on his team.
There's no,
My-
what
my-
are you
my
saying?
team
There's
of
no
12
Steve
AAA
Steve
developers.
Wozniak, Matt, what are you talking about? So if you think that you can do better than George and convince us that you have a cool game idea that is thoroughly thought out and very clearly concise that we can discuss and also maybe get excited about, giddy about if you're, if it's actually a good idea that would be worth playing, we're interested to hear what your ideas are. So thank you so much, as always, for listening to this episode of Dad and Sons. Email us your ideas, the dadandsonspodcast at gmail.com. I don't know if George is still here.
I'm at Indiegogo.
Or Matt.
I am here.
Against your will in the dad den.
Yeah, dad basement, dad closet.
It'll never
Please open a closet for dad.
Where are the sons in this?